Hello everybody, welcome back to the sessions on Power Electronics by Ramana. This is the 25th session in this series, and in this session we are going to discuss the particular topic of power electronic drives and speed control of those drives. But before going to the actual discussion, let us review all the sessions or all the topics which we have discussed right from the beginning of the series of the subject power electronics in our curriculum, that is C8 in curriculum of triple diploma program. In this, the subject power electronics is divided into 6 units, and we have discussed from 1 to 4 units till the previous session. That is, in the last 24 sessions we have discussed the first 4 units. The first 2 units comprised of mid-term 1 syllabus, and the next 2, that is 3 and 4 units, comprised of mid-term 2 examination syllabus. And the main course objectives were discussed as shown from CO1 to CO4, wherein the basics of power electronic devices, and next the combination of power electronic devices and other circuitry, that is converter circuits, have been discussed. Where in the first unit we have discussed various construction details and working and characteristics of thyristor devices or SCRs, GTO SCRs, LA SCRs, and other power MOSFETs and IGBTs, and particularly the commutation procedures of SCRs, and also how the in the other power electronic devices, that is MOSFETs and IGBTs. All those things we discussed in the first unit. So the first unit comprised of the main power electronic devices which can be used as turn on and turn off devices, or simply switches, by using which we can do so many things related to the electrical circuitry. That is, where we can convert a given form of electrical waveform to any other waveform which we want. It may be same as the source but differs in certain parameters, or source may be converted into some other form, like AC to DC, that is rectification, AC to AC, that is regulation or control, voltage control, and also then DC to DC, that is chopping, and next DC to AC, that is inversion. So in unit 2, 3 and 4, in units 2, 3 and 4 we have discussed how different circuits will behave to convert AC to DC or DC to AC, or from same form to other form, by using the power electronic devices which we have learnt in the first unit. So eventually in the first 4 units we have learnt the concepts of the power electronic devices and the various converter circuits, that is rectifiers, voltage controllers or regulators, choppers, inverters, and cycloconverters. So now we are ready with the ammunition to go further and to apply our knowledge in various fields of electrical engineering, where we find so many applications related to driving of loads, that is mechanically driven loads, or whatever concepts we have learnt in the first 4 units, we will be going to apply those concepts in the upcoming units, that is 5th unit and 6th unit, which comprise of the syllabus for the last and total semester end examination with a combination of the first 4 units, of which the model question papers for the midterm 1, midterm 2 and SCE, that is semester end examinations, can be uh, uh, they can be known from the curriculum, and those model type of question papers are attached to the curriculum itself. One can go through and how that questionnaire is divided into short answer questions, long answer questions and very long answer questions, like, or very short and long answer questions. And to start with, today's session comprises as the basic fundamentals related to the 5th unit, wherein we are going to discuss the power electronic drives for speed control. Power electronic drives for speed control. The main course objective of this unit is apply the power electronic drives for speed control of DC as well as AC motors and compare specific power electronic drives. So this is an application part of the first 4 units. Again, 6th unit will also comprise the typical application, where we will be using the concepts of power electronic converters for different power electronic circuits other than the speed control. So the units 1 and 6 comprise of application of first 4 units. So the 5th unit is speed control of DC and AC motors, which we are going to discuss now in this session. It is advantages of power electronic drives. What are those drives? DC motor control, speed control of DC shunt motor. Again, the specific objectives are listed like this. And in this session particularly, we are going to discuss the advantages of power electronic drives and disadvantages also, mention the factors affecting the speed of DC motors, and explain the speed control for DC shunt motor using single phase converters. And one by one we will be taking up the other speed control aspects of other motors in the upcoming sessions. So that is to start with the today's session. In this we are going to discuss the basics of power electronic drives and the speed control aspects, and also we will see how the speed is controlled in the case of DC shunt motors. And just before this session, in the previous session, we have discussed the last topic of the converters, that was cycloconverters in the form of center tapped cycloconverters, where we have elaborately discussed how the step down, that is frequency, will be stepped down in by using center tapped cycloconverters when the load is resistive, and also a combination of resistive and inductive. And also we have discussed the step up procedure with the same cycloconverter when only R load was taken. So that was the recap. And now come to the present session. The objectives of the present session are to understand what is a drive actually, and what would be an electric drive. Speed control related to these drives. Next, various speed control methods of DC and AC motors. Power electronic drives, that is the drives using power electronics devices. Advantages and disadvantages of power electronic drives. Next, the aspect of DC shunt motor speed control, factors affecting the speed of a DC motor, and again methods of speed control of DC shunt motors in particular we are going to discuss. Coming to the drive. The drive is defined as the combination of the driving and driven equipment along with the transmission system. It is called as a drive. So driving is the combination of driving means the actual machinery or equipment or move or rotate a given mechanical load. That load can be again rotatory or linear motion, or the motion required to move that load may be linear or rotatory. So driven equipment is nothing but your load. So drive is the combination of the prime mover or driving equipment and the load to be driven along with the transmission system. What is this transmission system? It is the system which will connect this driving equipment and the driven equipment in between. Nothing but your gears and pulleys and belts which will connect the driving and driven equipment. These things, all these things are particularly these drives, electric drives and the transmission system, gears and pulleys, the gear ratio, the efficiency of transmission between the driving and driven, all those things will be elaborately discussed in the subject of electric drives and control, which is in this 5th semester. You will get exposed to that topics. In this session, we will be just discussing of the overviews of these things. We will be superficially discussing what is what. So, drive is nothing but a combination of driving and driven equipment along with the transmission system. It is a drive. And this can be a totally mechanical thing. That is, where driving equipment can be a turbine or an IC engine, that is internal combustion engine, or an automobile, or any rotating equipment which can move the load in the given fashion. And this load obviously will be a mechanical load which may be rotating or linear. So the transmission system should be capable of transmitting the rotational energy or the mechanical output coming out of this driving equipment to drive the load in the given fashion. And it can also be said as drive is a system employed for supplying mechanical energy for motion. So system employed for supplying mechanical energy for motion is called as a drive. So these are the mechanical definitions of the drives or conventional drives, you can say. Now think over of the efficiency and all other maintenance things and cost of equipment, bulk and volume of these equipment, that is driving and driven equipment in case of drives, mechanical. When it comes to IC engines or automobiles and turbines, there are a lot of headaches and lot of drawbacks. Efficiency will also be less, and particularly to control the speed of the load ultimately will also be difficult in case of the conventional drives. Now think of a receiving equipment or source, or which is normally called as prime mover by electrical machinery. That is, the source of the drive or the energy given to this load is by electrical machinery, then it will be called as an electric drive or electrical drive. And obviously these electrical machinery can be any electrical motor, may it be DC or AC motor. The driving machinery can be DC or AC motors depending on the load requirements and the nature of the source. Load requirements and the nature of the source. That is, if we have only single phase supply, this machinery should be single phase AC motor, and that its output should be connected to the load via the proper transmission system. If you have only DC, again DC motors have to be used. And load requirement means maybe high torque, high starting torques are needed, or reversible operations are needed for certain loads, and there may be intermittently working loads. Depending on all these things, you have to choose particularly whether you will use a DC or AC motor. Again, in DC shunt or DC series or DC compound motors, when it comes to AC single phase motors or 3-phase motors, again induction motors or reluctance or synchronous motors, all those things will come into picture. Depending on the need, you will be selecting them. So that is electric drive. Electric drive is nothing but a drive which is driven by an electrical motor. So obviously when you compare the conventional drives with electric drives have certain advantages where you can have efficient speed control, and we have already gone through the speed control aspects of DC motors and AC motors in your previous semesters. You know that. We will be just uh, revising those concepts in a few moments, and that is all about drives and electric drives. So when it comes to speed control, why speed control is needed actually at all in case of drives, whether it is conventional or electrical drive, that is, it is because of the load. Just think that you have started a drive and rotating the load at the rated RPM, and take the case where there is a sudden increase in the load, then speed will obviously decrease, but you want the speed to be re-established back to the rated speed, or you want to always rotate the load irrespective of whether it is running on full load or half load or light loads. Then you have to do something so that the load will be rotated at a fixed speed, or in some cases you might want to drive the load at different speeds even when on the fixed load. So that is why you require to incorporate some features to control the speed according to the load requirements. That is your speed control. It is nothing but speed control is the intentional change in the speed of the drive to a desired value for performing the specific work process. What is this specific work process? That is the load and the operation on the load which has to be carried over. In conventional drives, the speed control is achieved only by changing the input to the drive. That is, if it is an automobile, again change the input to the automobile. That is, opening or closing of the throttle of the governor in case of turbines, or combustion controlling the combustion cycle inside the IC engines. Like when it comes to AC equipment or AC motors, there are so many procedures by which you can control the speed of the motors and eventually the load. In case of speed of the DC motors, it can be varied by three main methods which are widely known and widely accepted and followed. It is field control or flux control or field flux control, armature control or armature voltage control, or rheostatic control. Next, varying the supply voltage, or just increase or decreasing the supply voltage itself to the motor. This is in case of DC motors. And when it comes to AC motors, there are again many types of speed control aspects suited for induction motors and some for synchronous motors and other motors. By varying the supply voltage given to the stator or input supply, by changing the supply frequency, by changing the number of poles. We know that the formula for the synchronous speed of AC motors is in general expressed as Ns is equal to 120 F by P. Ns is equal to 120 F by P. 120 F by P, where Ns is your synchronous speed. Ns is your synchronous speed. F is the frequency of the supply voltage, or normally called as stator frequency also, and P is the number of poles for which the stator winding has been wound over. And when it comes to the running speed Nr will be equal to Ns into 1 minus slip, where S is called as slip. All those things you know in the case of induction motor aspects. So mainly this is the governing equation for the speed control of the AC motors, and depending on this mainly speed can be controlled. That is by varying the supply voltage, varying the supply frequency, varying the number of poles, rheostat control method, that is basically suited for slip ring induction motors, where it is called rotor rheostat control method, where speed is controlled from the other side or the output side of the motor, or you can say it is rotor side of the induction motor, rotor rheostatic control. It can be done only in the case of slip ring induction motors. Next, injecting an EMF into the rotor circuit. Again, this can be employed only in the case of slip ring induction motors, where we will be injecting an EMF into the rotor circuit in either opposition or in aiding to the actual rotor EMF, which will be having a frequency which is less when compared to supply frequency, and which can be calculated as simply Fr is equal to S into Fs. S into Fs, where S is your slip, Fs is the supply frequency, and Fr is the rotor frequency. If S is 0.1, if slip is 0.1 and supply frequency is 50 Hz, obviously this Fr will be 0.1 into 50, that is 50 by 10 or 5 Hz. So you have to inject an EMF into the rotor circuit with a frequency of 5 Hz, which can be done by the converters, which we have discussed in the previous session, that is cycloconverters. And the other method is operating two motors in cascade. Just to control the speed of a given induction motor, you need to have an identical induction motor which has to be connected in cascade, in which you can obtain speeds in steps, and 3 speeds will be achievable, which is rarely used owing to its cost and other control problems. Mainly, the first 5 procedures can be used for the speed control of AC motors. And when we compare the speed control procedures of the conventional drives and these electrical drives, that is whether it is DC motor driven or AC motor driven, these speed control procedures are more efficient. You can have better speed control, and you can have speed control over longer range, and also you can achieve the exact required speeds and required frequencies also. That is why electrical drives have many advantages when compared to the conventional drives. But there are certain disadvantages of electrical drives also when compared to power electronic drives, not conventional drives. Disadvantage of electric drives in comparison to PE drives, that is these are disadvantages when compared to power electronic drives. In which exact speeds are not possible. When compared to conventional drives, you will be having better precision and you will be having better accuracy, but again exact speeds are not possible when compared to power electronic drives. Or in case of power electronic drives, you can achieve exact speeds. And again, with comparison of PE drives, electric drives will have more maintenance cost, and energy loss in case of electric drives will be more. What are the electric drives? Electric drives employ DC motors and AC motors with speed control from electrical aspects. That is, you will be using electrical procedures like the ones we have discussed, that is field control, armature control, varying the supply voltage. In most of these speed control aspects, basically variable resistances or rheostats will be used, across which there will be so much of loss. So as more losses are there in case of speed control equipment, eventually the energy will be lost or efficiency will be somewhat less. But again it will be better than compared to the conventional drives. Again maintenance cost will be more. In case of power electronic drives, these problems will be eliminated. But what are these power electronic drives? That we will be discussing in this slide. Power electronic drives, as the name indicates, these are the drives which employ power electronic devices. So where can you employ these power electronic devices? So these power electronic devices can be employed only in electric drives. So power electronic drives are those electric drives in which the on and off mechanisms or turn on and turn off mechanisms or conversion mechanisms will be taken care or done by power electronic devices such as the thyristors or SCRs, MOSFETs and IGBTs, which we have discussed. Or simply to say, power electronic drives are those electric drives in which the switches are not conventional switches, they are replaced by power electronic switches. In case of normal electric drives, the switches use the SPST, SPDT, DPST, DPDT switches along with variable resistances. In case of both turn on and turn off and variation, that is resistances, all these things are replaced by simple power electronic switches. So they can be called as thyristor control drives or also power electronic drives. In these power electronic drives, any power electronic device can be used as a switch which is suitable. Visualize as that is according to the ratings and response times. That is the ratings of these devices and response times, that is turn on and turn off time, should be particularly in synchronization with the drive requirements. And again, these power electronic devices should be selected according to the converter which you are going to select for the particular drive. On what we have learned in the first 4 units, that is power electronic devices and power electronic converters. First we will choose the proper converter suitable to the particular situation of the drive which we are going to operate. So selection of the converters is done based on the nature of the supply, nature of the load and load behavior and load requirements. Nature of the supply. See, the load obviously is mechanical, but what is the load on this converter? This has to drive an electric motor which can be DC or AC. So that is the load on this converter. So if it is DC motor, just consider it is DC motor, but the supply you are having is AC. So obviously you have to use a rectifier, and after rectifier again you can also use a chopper to further process the rectified DC into the proper DC which suits to that particular DC motor. Likewise, and next, nature of the load. Load is, it can be DC or AC. If the supply is AC but the load, that is electric motor, is also AC, then simply you can use AC voltage controller or regulator or even a cyclo converter if you want to change the frequency. So depending on the supply and load, electrical load, you have to choose the converter. And not only that, load behavior and load requirements. Here comes the actual mechanical load you want to drive. Depending on the actual mechanical load, the electrical motor load will also behave. And load behavior, that is if it wants high torque or high speed or low speed and high torques. Load requirements is, it can be a continuously working load or intermittently working load or continuously on off load over a given duration, all these things, load behavior and load requirements, that is you will be learning in the subject of drives. So first the converter is selected depending on these factors, and again once you select the converter, it can be a single stage converter or two stage converter, as we have seen in the case of cycloconverters. And again in that, what are the power electronic devices which will suit the purpose, may it be SCRs, GTO-SCRs, MOSFETs, IGBTs or other transistors or diodes, even in some cases for lower ratings you can be using those things. So that is how the selection of converter and power electronic devices is made for power electronic drives. So when we compare the conventional drives and electric drives, the power electronic drives have certain advantages where you can achieve accurate speed, installation cost will be less, efficiency will be more, maintenance will be less, high reliability, that is you can simply take them to be reliable. Whenever they are operated, they will be reliably delivering the output. Less floor area obviously volume and size of the equipment will decrease, floor area will decrease, energy will be saved, and most importantly faster operations, turn on, turn off, everything will be very fast, which we cannot even imagine when compared to conventional drives. So these are the advantages of power electronic drives, and very small other disadvantages are they may prove to be costlier for higher ratings and higher frequencies. Heat produced will be more when compared to even conventional drives. In case of the fast acting switches, owing to ohmic losses or voltage drop across those switches due to high reversals, proper heat sinks are to be used, and most important disadvantage is they are less sensitive to overload conditions. This is in decreasing fashion. Power electronic drives are the most less sensitive to overload conditions, or when overloads, the load is operating under lower load conditions, the response times are less, they become less sensitive. Electric drives are better, and conventional drives are even better when compared to power electronic drives to take overloads. So that is the concept of conventional drive, electric drive and power electronic drives, and the speed control aspects, how the speed control can be achieved in case of DC motors and AC motors. Now we will take up the case of DC motors. Mainly the governing equations for the speed of DC motors are two, that is the main back EMF EB, counter EMF or back EMF EB is equal to 5ZNP by 60A volts, which you have already learnt in case of DC motors, where phi is the flux per pole of the field, Z is the total number of conductors inside the armature, N is the speed of the armature in RPM, P is the number of poles for which armature windings are wound over, A is the number of parallel paths of the armature windings, which is equal to P for the case of lap winding, and which is equal to 2 for wave winding. So that is EB or back EMF or counter EMF, which will be induced in opposition to the applied voltage. Next, the applied voltage V, the governing equation in case of the DC motors can be written as EB, V is equal to supply voltage is equal to EB plus IARA. IA is the current through the armature, RA is the resistance of the armature windings, which will be very very less, and the difference between the applied voltage and back EMF will be very less even under the rated load conditions. And eventually by comparing these two equations, you can find the equations an expression as n is equal to k, a proportionality constant, into V minus IARA, that is EB. V minus IARA is nothing but EB by phi. Eventually, it can be visualized as n is proportional to V minus IARA by phi, or mainly it is understood as followed as n is proportional to EB by phi, or n, the speed of the motor, is directly proportional to the back EMF and inversely proportional to the field flux. Or if the back EMF is increased, speed will increase, and if the flux is increased, speed will decrease. But normally what we can achieve is flux can only be decreased from the rated value, speed can be increased. We will be seeing just in a moment. So depending on this equation, n, speed of the motor, is mainly dependent on V, that is supply voltage, and phi, that is the flux of the field, and RA, armature resistance, and IA, or the voltage drop across the armature. That is, if you feed more voltage across the armature, more speed can be achieved. So depending on these three factors, mainly you will be following certain control procedures. They are called as armature control, wherein you will be controlling the armature which will be reaching the armature, field or flux control, supply voltage control. This is the field control for the case of DC shunt motors, where n is regarded as proportional to EB by phi. EB is more means the armature voltage will be more, just recon it as. So for armature control, a variable resistance or rheostat will be connected in series with the armature. For shunt field or field flux control, another variable resistance will be connected in series with the shunt field. To start the motor under normal conditions, both these variable resistances will be adjusted to zero value, or the full voltage will be applied across the armature as well as the shunt field. So just assume that armature will be rotating at the rated speed as the rated supply voltage is applied across it. Now when you increase this resistance connected in series with the armature, there will be some voltage drop across this resistance, and the voltage reaching the armature will be less than the actual rated voltage. So EB will be less, and eventually the speed will be less. Means by increasing this resistance connected in series with the armature, you can get speeds below the rated RPM. Contrary to that, now again bring back this resistance to zero, which is connected in series with the armature. Now increase the resistance connected in series with the field, shunt field. If you increase this resistance, there will be certain voltage drop, or the total resistance of the shunt field and this resistance put together, or this total branch resistance will increase, or the current flowing through this resistance as well as shunt field will be lesser than the actual rated field current. So as the lesser field current is flowing, field flux, which will be proportional to the field current, will decrease. So by increasing the field resistance, field current will decrease, and eventually field flux will decrease. And from the governing equation, speed is inversely proportional to the field flux, or phi. So in case of this procedure, as field flux is decreased, speed will increase. So in this procedure, you can achieve speeds above the rated RPM only. In case of armature control, you can achieve speeds below rated RPM, as n is proportional to EB, or n is proportional to the armature voltage, where the governing equation will be n is proportional to V minus Ia into RA plus RC, that is the total resistance in series. And in case of field control, again due to this resistance, current will decrease, field current will decrease as speed is inversely proportional to the field flux. As the flux is decreased, you can achieve the speeds above the rated speeds only in this case. So that is the difference between armature control and flux control. But that is again in case of armature control, you can either decrease or increase the speed by decreasing or increasing the back EMF or voltage across the armature, but that can be done only for the speeds below the rated RPM. In case of field flux control, again you can increase or decrease the speed, but again that can be done only above the rated speeds. The other one is supply voltage or multiple voltage control method, which is rarely used. One is which you will be using a variable resistance in series with the applied voltage, but both the flux voltage and armature voltage will decrease. It is not very efficient. Other system is Ward-Leonard system, which will be having 3 different voltages, or for different voltages different supplies will be there, and eventually the speed of the motor can be changed. But again, for this Ward-Leonard system, to control the speed of a given DC shunt motor, you need another identical DC shunt motor, which is very costly and also maintenance will be more. It is not achieved. So again, among all these 3 procedures, the first 2 methods, that is armature control and field control, are the methods which are extensively used for shunt motor, and with some remedies these can also be used for series motor as well as compound motors. To summarize, we have discussed the difference between conventional drives and electric drives, speed equation of DC motors, and various methods of speed control. We have revised, we have gone through how they are done, which were already discussed in the other subject, that is DC motors. To have the quiz, which of the following are not the advantages of thyristor controlled drives? That is power electronic drives. Reliability, fast in operation, more cost, high efficiency. That is more cost. Yes, as the ratings increases, cost will increase. It is not the advantage. In thyristor or power electronic AC circuits, the thyristor in circuits, it generally gets turned off by, obviously AC circuits means it is a line commutation or natural commutation. In power electronic drives, the output voltage can be changed by changing, obviously, the firing angle alpha. The output voltage can be changed by changing firing angle or simply phase control technique. Which method is not used to control the speed of DC motors? Not used. Changing the frequency. Obviously, frequency changing method is suited for only AC motors, that too particularly for induction motors. Which method is used to vary the speed of DC motor above the rated speed? As we have just discussed now, it is field flux variation method. Field flux variation method or field method, flux method, field control. Frequently asked questions: advantage and disadvantage of thyristor control drives, factors affecting, explain the methods of speed control, define a drive and electric drive, speed control methods, just list them, advantages and disadvantages of power electric drive. These are the concepts which we have revised regarding the speed control of DC motors. And for these speed control aspects, how we will be choosing the proper converter to suit to the load requirements, and how the speed control in case of DC shunt motors and series motors will be achieved by power electronic converters, that will be discussed in the next session. Thank you.